team members that might be interested in Viva and the Power Platform. So I'm Jessie Narducci from WM Reply. Great to be here. I'm going to share screen now. And I will hand it over to Jim Raish at Microsoft.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks very much, Jessie. Appreciate it. Jim Raish, I'm a customer success director, and I'm thrilled to be here today. Let me go ahead and kick things off. I mean, 2021 is going to be a very interesting year for all of us as we go out and we've surveyed executives across our enterprise customer base. You know, what we've heard back is that there'll be a real focus on employee experience. You know, number of things driving that. You know, the unique way that we're now working with remote or hybrid workplace scenarios, focusing also on the wellness of employees under that type of scenario. And then lastly, how do we make and keep those people productive? And I think it's, you know, cross-functionally, whether you're in HR, IT, operations, sales, executive leadership, a real key to the success there is automating and then simplifying business process. And a great way to do that we'll talk about today is around Power Platform. The other thing that's really key here, and you've probably heard of the launch of Microsoft Viva. It's really focused around the employee experience that brings together communications internally and externally within the organization, the knowledge of employees, learning, and then, you know, resources and insights so that individuals are to, you know, be able to maximize their productivity no matter where they are. So that said, today, I'd very much like to introduce you to WM Reply, one of our key partners in this space, an expert in all things M365 and Power Platform, who have done amazing work with our customers globally. We're going to take you on a whirlwind tour of Microsoft Viva, talk a little bit about Power Platform, and then round things out with a real-time demonstration of a customer that's leveraging these technologies that WM Reply has developed and is implemented, and customer again is using. So with that said, I'd like to go ahead and hand this over to Jessie Narducci, and we'll take it from there. Again, thank you for being here. Jessie, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Jim, and thank you again for being on the call today. Thanks for the great introduction. So I'll just walk quickly through our agenda so you know what's coming. We're going to give a quick whirlwind tour of Viva, so connections, insights, learning, and topics. We'll also talk a little bit about integrating and automating with Power Platform in Teams, and then we'll show you that live customer demo that will really showcase how you can leverage Teams, but also Viva Connections when it rolls out to curate a frontline experience for your different audience groups. And then we'll talk a little bit about taking the next step, and also we'll open up at the end for a Q&A. So if you have any questions, Microsoft, WM, we're here to help you and here to reply to your questions. And you can feel free to also include questions in the chat along the way as well. So Microsoft Viva was just announced very recently, and it's bringing organizations a curated experience that really enables individuals to work more efficiently. It also helps grow company culture and really brings in that curated experience to them. So Microsoft Viva comes in 4 different modules. Viva Connections is the hero product. That's the one where all of the other modules will also be integrated into, and that will become the ultimate employee experience. Then there's Learning, which will integrate a lot of great learning, whether it's from third parties, LinkedIn Learning, etc. It will bring it into one place. Topics is a great way to have knowledge bases across the organization to keep them up to date and to really enable employees when they're working in their day-to-day to learn more about the different, hot button topics and products that are coming out within an organization. And then Insights is a great new product that is kind of the next wave of workplace analytics. Really gives leaders, managers, and employees data-driven insights that can help them kind of work smarter, thrive, and also, it includes, some built-in surveys, feedback, and sentiment. So delving right in, Viva Connections, again, is the hero product. So this is really what the future of the workplace is going to look like. So in today's world, in a lot of organizations, we talk about what is Teams used for versus what is SharePoint used for, or intranet site, or, multiple different team sites, or what is Yammer used for? And then we have all these other, third-party systems, something like a ServiceNow or one of your LMSs. So what Viva Connections is really going to do is it's not necessarily going to be about here's all of the different tools. I have to have all of these different windows open in order to, complete my work for the day, to stay connected, to stay engaged. Instead, it's going to become the ultimate employee experience. So again, you won't have all these different browsers open, all of these different systems open. It's going to bring everything right into Microsoft Teams. So you'll see here on this on the screenshot, you can see the Teams rail over on the left-hand side. This is highly customizable, and you'll also notice that on the front page, it includes a modern SharePoint intranet site. So what this means is that at your organization, if you would like for the employee experience to start with, hey, what is the top news across the organization, you can move your intranet site right into Teams. Does that mean you have to totally change your intranet site from the way it exists now if it's on modern SharePoint? It doesn't. It actually just means that you're integrating it into the employee experience hub so that it's not just another system or another window that needs to be opened and maintained. You can access it right within Teams. Over on the right, you'll start to see some of the new features that are going to be rolling out later this year with Connections, where you have the opportunity to have the dashboard. And then also a great mobile experience. So with the dashboard cards, these are where you can really start to integrate all of your business processes. And that's something that, at WM Reply, we're always helping customers automate their business processes with the Power Platform. And in this case, even if you have third-party systems that you want to be a part of your employees or people forces day-to-day work lives, you can integrate them on these adaptive cards. So also the mobile experience will have the ability to have kind of the feed, so the news from your intranet site, but also from Yammer. Also, it has the dashboard, which includes, those adaptive cards and the business processes that employees can do right within there, whether it's submitting their expenses or, submitting an incident report, whatever the systems and processes is that they have on a day-to-day in their day-to-day work life. That will be something that you can include and curate. And then, of course, it connects to resources depending on kind of what your role in the organization is. So something that we haven't seen before, as far as how seamless it's now going to be, is that for the first time ever, you're really going to be able to curate according to audience group across your organization. So let's say that, your executives, they have a certain way of working. Maybe they're very mobile and they want to, have all of the systems and the processes and the tools they use in the mobile experience. Through Active Directory and Azure, you'll be able to make sure that they're getting the news that matches up with, what they are going to be interested in. It's the same with every different audience group. So if your sales and marketing team, let's say that they're on the road and they don't have access to the desktop version. Well, taking a look at what the, business processes, what the pain points are, what the systems they use, how they like to communicate, what news is relevant to them. That's all something that you can create an employee experience around. And the way that, WM Reply is helping organizations prepare for connections is helping them understand how to do that audience segmentation, how to understand what the personas are, the use cases, and those business processes, and sometimes even helping automate those business processes with the Power Platform. So again, it's going to, in the current state, it's SharePoint and Yammer and, other systems and Teams. In the future state of this, when Connections is rolling out later this summer, it's really going to be about employee experience. What is the employee experience and how best do we curate it so that everyone can feel connected, get the news that applies to them, even if it comes down to location and geography, maybe even, role specific personas and use cases. So this is really going to turn out to be the future of the workplace and the future of the employee experience overall, which we know is going to be a hot topic, employee experience, especially with hybrid remote working, individuals who are on the front line. It's going to be really important to make sure that we're capturing and providing employees or your people force with the information and news they need to really be able to do their job productively and feel connected to the organization. So Viva Topics is also, I think this is one of the products that's actually out now, but it is really helping organizations have a knowledge base that is fluid. So you can almost think of it like the Wikipedia for your organization. I know that a lot of our customers that we work with, they have all of these different knowledge bases that have to be maintained, and a lot of them get out of date very quickly. So Topics really leverages AI, creates pages for specific topics, and then those topics are included in hyperlinks so that if you're just an employee, going through your day-to-day work life and you hear something, let's say in this example, SOAR, and you want to hear more about it, you can click on the topic and it takes you to a topic page that gives you the information you need to stay up to date on what's going on in your organization. And of course, the topic pages can be, edited by experts. It can be kept up to date by AI. You also have topic cards right in the workflow in Office and Teams. So if you think about how much time is spent on building up sales kits, product, knowledge bases, this is really going to be a much more efficient way and fluid way of keeping your knowledge sources up to date across the organization. So the next module is Viva Learning, and this is really going to be helpful, again, even with Connections, with Insights, and with Learning, it's moving everything into that employee experience portal. So, and that's housed right within Teams. So the Learning app, it's going to bring together content from LinkedIn Learning, even Microsoft Learn, the Microsoft Skillsoft, Microsoft Learning, but also Skillsoft, Coursera, Pluralsight, edX, so and different LMSs like Cornerstone, Saba, SAP, SuccessFactors. So, it's not just going to be confined to, the M365 learning. It's also going to enable you across your organization, depending on what LMS or what learning platforms you have, to be able to have all of that learning come in one place, so that you can really make sure that your workforce is getting the, the learning paths that they need in order to, upskill themselves, in order to, stay abreast on, the latest learning across the organization that really does have an impact on business results. So another one that's really exciting is Viva Insights. So this is going to be kind of the future of workplace analytics and My Analytics. So it provides visibility into how work is happening across your organization and the impact on productivity and well-being. And I think we know that in 2021 and 2022, well-being, workplace sentiment, connectedness, these are going to be really, really big topics that are going to be discussed across organizations, and of course the impact on the organization's culture. So it's going to be great to really see the generalized insights along with recommended actions for individuals, managers, and leaders that Viva Insights is going to provide. So you can also, with the analyst workbench, customers can slice and dice the data. You can build custom reports or export the data and combine it with HR data like employee surveys or retention data. And they're also integrating well-being features into Insights, like a new virtual commute feature. So the new virtual commute feature really helps individuals kind of take a pause at the end of their day. They can see the tasks. They can also take a minute to, kind of measure their own sentiment. It also will include integrations with things like Headspace, a nice top tip for, employees to really take a moment to remember, we're all human beings and we need to focus on our individual wellness in order to be at our best and to perform at our best. So it's going to be really fantastic. And again, what I love about this is it's not just for leaders or back-end administrative admins in your IT department. It really is going to be valuable for leaders across work streams. It's going to be really valuable for people managers as well to see how well their team is doing, and also on the individual level. And the data itself is anonymous too, so that your privacy as an individual is going to be protected. So this one's going to be really great in making sure that you keep your culture strong and that your different teams are performing at their best, the most productive, feeling connected, and measuring their sentiment as changes come up, whether that's returning to the workplace or other safety initiatives or well-being initiatives across an organization. So you might be wondering, okay, well, here's, Viva looks great, but how do I get started at my organization? So we realize these are kind of high level tips, but a few of the things that you can do to really prepare your organization to take full advantage and really capitalize on that ultimate employee experience and connections is to enable your digital workplace with Microsoft 365. Another thing that you can take is shift your social to Yammer, and then also to update your intranet site to modern SharePoint. And we realize a lot of these things can be complex projects in and of themselves. So, you can feel free to contact WM Reply anytime at all. We're more than happy to have a conversation with you to understand, what your challenges are, where your roadmap's at versus where it needs to go. So, reach out to us. We're happy to jump on a call with you. We are experts in all things Microsoft 365 and Power Platform as well. And also, a Teams champion, Yammer adoption specialist, Microsoft Gold partner, and ProSci certified. So anytime, that you feel like you need some additional advice, feel free to give us a call. So now just a quick look at Power Platform. So there's a lot you can do with the Power Platform, and I think there's so much of the art of the possible built in with what a lot of organizations have already invested in, which is just their M365 licensing. So with the Power Platform, there is so much is possible. One of the first things that you can do to really get on the path towards going down Microsoft Viva Connections, which is really that overarching employee hub or employee experience platform, which is housed in Teams, is to start thinking about what third-party applications or systems that you can integrate into the Teams environment. So Teams is really, in the future of the workplace, it's not just about, oh, I can chat or I can share documents or, I can schedule meetings. It really is going to be where employees begin and end their day. So it's going to be the overarching employee experience hub. So taking the first step is really thinking, okay, if I have ServiceNow or if I have another system or application, maybe I could move that or connect it into Teams so that when employees are working through their workday, with scheduling meetings or with chatting or document sharing, they can now, connect that right into the Teams experience. So kind of the next step that we help a lot of organizations with is automating business processes. And when we say business processes, this can be anything from something that's still done with paper and pen. This could be something that is done via an Excel file. Any kind of process that you have right now that feels very clunky, that's very time consuming, that it's not really an efficient way to make sure that your teams are staying productive. A lot of that can be taken care of with the Power Platform by automating those business processes and teams, by automating notification or communications journeys in Teams. And again, it's really bringing all of the business processes into one place so that you don't have a bunch of different windows open all of the time. You just have this nice employee experience from start to finish that will be housed within Teams. So even as you're thinking about how to take the next steps toward Viva Connections, start thinking about where are those business processes or pain points that we can actually automate, put into Teams. So when we do take advantage of Viva Connections, we've already got our processes in there. The next step is also really understanding how to customize the employee experience. So that could be custom model or canvas-driven apps, depending on what your needs are. But also it's about understanding what your different personas, use cases, geographies, basically your audience segmentation and what your different audience groups needs. And so a lot of the work that we're doing right now to help organizations prepare for taking full advantage of Viva Connections is to sit down and think through, okay, how is our executive experience and the news they need and the connections they want to build different from maybe our frontline worker population? And how is that different from the knowledge worker? What are the different needs, business processes, systems, capabilities, and pain points and asks that each of our different audience groups has? And once you have that defined, you really are setting yourself up for success when it comes to being able to take full advantage of Viva Connections. So even when you're thinking about the Power Platform, these are all steps that are getting you closer to being able to realize that seamless employee experience that you're going to get with Viva Connections. Another thing just to note on this and Jim brought it up earlier, but whether you're in, IT, operations, HR, communications, executive leadership, sales, you can think about how much time this will save if you automate, for example, in an HR scenario, if you automate, communications that are being streamlined into Teams around your new hire onboarding process instead of having that done manually. So when you sit down and kind of think about in your day-to-day, what would make your lives easier from a process perspective, the Power Platform can definitely step in and bring all of that into Teams. So that said, we do get a lot of questions around how, so you're, they say, okay, Jesse, but how do we sit down and think about, what's going to be the most advantageous across the organizations? Or how do we sit down and identify how the pain point that we have around a process and then which app or bot we need? So a lot of times we're in conversations with our clients and we have a general conversation about the pain points and what they're trying to achieve. And what's great is that Microsoft, outside of the custom apps that we can develop based on really specific needs and requirements, there's a lot of app templates out there already built to automate a lot of these processes that can really help productivity and connectedness increase across your organization. So I pulled a few out. There's many more than this, but I just pulled a few out. So from a culture and wellness perspective, some of the bots and applications that we've been helping our clients with are incentives and gamification. So that's being able to track and monitor through points, through leaderboards, an incentives program. So if you're rolling out a change initiative and you really want to have high adoption of it and really have a positive perception of whatever change that might be, whether it's technology or HR or another change, organizational change, incentivizing it through gamification, making it fun. This is something that we're doing in a lot of organizations because wellness is a big issue and connectedness is a big issue for 2021. Culture and wellness bots and apps are very much a hot topic, and we're working with a lot of organizations right now on implementing these. And again, all right within the Teams rail, we can build the notification journey all within Teams to kind of reduce email overload. Another example is the icebreaker bot. So this is really helping cultures remain strong by pairing one individual with another individual across the organization. The app itself does all of the work for you. So you don't, it automatically goes and finds different times that you're available, and you just click a button that says, yes, I'd like a meeting, or you can, do a couple of other fancy things, including, include URLs, ask an expert, share your feedback. So there's a lot of different customization abilities there when it comes to the icebreaker bot, but it really does help to kind of keep that culture strong and really help facilitate that human connection, especially in a virtual working space. So for communications, IT operations, some of the really great apps that we're working with, and again, there's many, many more than this, but Company Communicator is such a great resource. So a communications team, an HR team, an executive team, if you want to be able to push out messages via Teams that maybe even include links to your intranet site, to an article, to a learning management system, you can customize, the Company Communicator. This is absolutely an excellent resource and app to use if you have a frontline worker population. So we've even had customers that said, in one part of the world, we've had a natural disaster and the phone lines went down, but strangely, the internet was still working. And if we had a way to actually get our store employees, through either BYOD or some other, managed mobile device system, be able to push out communications to them, especially during a critical time period, that would solve a lot of the pain points, and we could actually keep our employees more safe. So, Company Communicator is an excellent application to use to really cut down on some of that email overload, but also to use in times of crisis. And there's a lot of different use cases, whether you're in communications, HR, IT. FAQ Plus bot is another one. So let's say even that your organization's rolling out Yammer or another tool. FAQ Plus bot is a great way to have a bot right within Teams where people can ask questions and receive answers. They can ask an expert, they can share feedback. This one also helps cut down on the workload on the back end for IT, for HR, for communication. So if the FAQ Plus bot can answer a lot of those questions, then it's not having to be done manually with a shared mailbox. Request a team is another one that we have a lot of interest in, because as people are becoming more comfortable with the idea of the Power Platform, governance, is always a big question, and we do help a lot of organizations sort out their governance so that they do feel comfortable with launching Power Platform. Request a team is great if you're in let's say financial services, if you're in maybe even insurance or another highly regulated industry where you really need to make sure you have the proper data retention policies in place. You need to make sure the proper security is in place. Request a team is an excellent way to still enable, your people force to have all of the advantages of being able to use Teams, but automatically putting that proper level of governance in place, and even, doing that across for Yammer and SharePoint as well. So Request a Team is really fantastic if you do need additional layers of governance as you're rolling out Teams or people are requesting SharePoint sites. For human resources, some of the great applications in this space are the HR support bot, also the return to workplace. This is a very hot topic for us here at WM. We're helping customers figure out what is the best scenario and the safest scenario. So enabling individuals to be able to, for example, check in, let the office know that they are going to come into work, reserve a desk space, and this also can be connected to Active Directory so that it's clear geographically across the organization if you have offices globally or if you have offices nationally. So again, and it's also also has a notification journey. So it really will help facilitate and smooth out, you know, that return to work that's going to be taking place, you know, even now, but also later in the year and next year. And then another, you know, hot button topic too is, especially since a lot of organizations were forced to move to remote working, is new hire onboarding. And so there's a new hire onboarding application, but also, you know, you can build a full program around this so that your new hire onboarding is very seamless, that you can pull in your new hires, make them feel connected as though they're part of the organization rather than very disconnected because they've only, you know, attended an onboarding training or something, and they don't necessarily feel that in the virtual space, they don't necessarily feel as though they've been truly onboarded into the culture and into the community of an organization. So I know that I bucketed out these into kind of culture and wellness, communications, IT operations, and human resources, but a lot of these bots and apps that all can be integrated and customized according to your needs within Microsoft Teams, they do actually can do double duty across the different you know, work streams and work groups. So just up next, what I'd like to show is an example, a real world example. We were on the advisory board for Viva Connections, and we developed an app for Go Ahead London, one of our clients, and what they really were looking for is never before had their frontline workers, so the people on the roads, driving the buses, the double-decker, fantastic London buses, they didn't really feel connected to the organization, either because they don't, a lot of them didn't have, you know, a PC or a desktop. They also were on the road, so they didn't have the luxury of, you know, being able to do a lot of their work processes until after their shifts. A lot of their, you know, processes were paper and pen and still manual. So it really was a process of creating the right use cases to pull out that would enable the bus drivers to have the capabilities they needed in the mobile experience. So just give me 1 second to reshare, and I'll share the demo. Okay. Can anyone put in the chat whether it's screen sharing okay? Can you see the Go Ahead demo?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Thanks, Kieran. Much appreciated. Okay, so for the demo, you can see here, this is what the Go Ahead London mobile experience looked like. As you can see at the top, and this is all within Teams. So we customized the Teams environment in the mobile environment for the bus drivers because, again, if they didn't have a shared kiosk, a lot of them didn't have, you know, computers. So it was really important for us to bring the capabilities that they needed to be more productive, be more connected, and meet them where they are in their day-to-day. So that meant, you know, creating a mobile experience. So you can see here that we're pulling in news that's related to the bus drivers themselves. And this is where we're going along down the path toward Viva Connections. Viva Connections is going to enable you to curate the experience. So again, if you have, I heard in one of the Microsoft Viva, from the top floor to the shop floor, you'll be able to curate, you know, the different experiences that are really going to enable, you know, your people force. In this case, we pulled in, you know, the bus driving news that would be important to them. We added quick links for their business processes. You can see even at the bottom, you have 72 unread emails. So just a quick note to let them know they have emails. What I love about this is the My Location. It is designed as a new icon for the double-decker London bus. But what's interesting to note here, and what Viva Connections is going to be bringing you later this year, is you can see this is the Croydon garage. So it's able to identify where an individual is locally and then curate that experience. So they're not getting weighed down by news from, all the other parts of the country. They're able to go right to their location specific processes, news, discussion, duty swaps, overtime. So again, it's very much helping enable that employee experience that really resonates with the employee, depending on what role they have, what their job function is, and how what their ways of working are. So here you can see we've still got the chat function, so they can still chat with each other, and this is something they've never been able to do before, so they absolutely loved this feature. And then what I love about this is the hub. So what we did is help identify, okay, what are the actual business processes that can be automated, as part of Power Platform or with the rest of the M365 suite, such as forms. So here you can see this is built right with M365 forms. You can change your personal details. You've got grievance, you've got incident alerts. All of this is built right within this mobile experience. So again, bringing them the capabilities they need so that after, their long, bus driving shift, they don't have to find a computer, fill out forms. They can do this all while they have moments in the day and they're on their mobile devices. And then, of course, we've still got the activity, and over here under the more, they can also access, all of the other features of Teams. What we did is we just curated the Teams rail so that it was very specific to them and their employee experience. So let me just quickly go back to the presentation. Okay, and then can everyone see the frontline worker slide up in front of us?
Yes.
Thank you, Jose. Thanks, Jim. Okay. So just a quick note on this, really how we did this and what we're helping a lot of organizations with, not only with Power Platform and automating business processes, but also with really helping them understand how to get on track for the Viva Connections, the employee experience platform, is really to understand their personas and use cases. So again, if I'm an executive, or if I'm a store employee, or if I'm a project manager, what are the systems, the tools, and the processes that I need in order to really enable me to do the best, to be the most productive and feel the most connected, on my day-to-day journey. And a part of that is we don't want to leave out, we don't want to leave out the adoption part of it and the people side of it. So understanding that, understanding the use cases, understanding the personas, the different audience groups, and what they're going to need curated is a big part of being able to really take advantage of Viva Connections and the Power Platform. So just a quick example with Go Ahead London. These are bus drivers. They don't have a lot of time to sit in a training room, with an hour-long webinar, even though we did do some webinars. So we did, very clear looking, videos to really help them understand, hey, it's real quick and easy for you to download the app. Here's the credentials you log in with. So again, really trying to meet the people force, your audience groups, where they are with what they need, with the right level of adoption change management. Okay, so you might also be wondering about next steps. So just one note, we are with Michael Holst and also Steve Wen, who are part of the Viva and Yammer product groups at Microsoft. We're going to do a really fabulous event called Fall in Love with Viva. So I just wanted to let you know that's on April 15th. We'll be sending out invites and we'll be posting on LinkedIn and things like that. So if any of you want to learn even a bit more about Viva, those product owners from Microsoft will be jointly presenting with us. So, we'd love to have you if you have some additional interest in what's coming. And I'm sure even next month there will be some even more, information about when certain things are going to be launched. So it'll be a great session. In the context of today, if you and your organization, or if you're from Microsoft and you have customers who are having conversations around Viva or the platform or Power Platform and automating business processes, just want to let you know, feel free to contact us. Wayne and I, we've got our email addresses in here. You can contact me directly. I scheduled the meeting invite, so shoot me off an email. I'm happy to just jump on a quick call, figure out, hear, what your roadmap is, what your challenges are. We're more than happy to come in and, advise, answer some questions for you. So again, feel free to, reach out to us and have a chat with us if you'd like to talk about Viva or the Power Platform. So now I would love to open it up for questions and answers. Anyone on the call, if you have any questions at all about any of the topics we've discussed, love to hear from them and we'll answer them as best we can. So I do see someone with their hand up. Oh, hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, sir. It's great to have you on the webinar today.
Oh, thanks for having me. So quick question.
Sure.
As far as Viva is concerned, from what I understand, Connections comes with your E3 licensing. Does the rest of it, the other 3 pieces of Viva, is that all within the licensing? Is there extra cost involved if you're going down the Viva path? Any knowledge into that?
So we did hear, just like you did, that Connections is going to be part of the licensing. However, I think more is going to be revealed about learning and about insights later on. I do know that Topics is available. I don't believe that it's currently included with the licensing. I think it's $5 per person, but I could be wrong about that. But also, just keep in mind, everyone, we're going to be having lots and lots of updates from Microsoft. Microsoft has got this really exciting roadmap. So while we don't have real clear specific information right now, at least not in the WM Reply side, about if Insights and Learning is going to be included, I'm pretty sure those announcements are going to be coming anytime, Chris. So sorry if I couldn't outright answer your question, but yeah, we're also waiting with bated breath to see what's going to happen on the Viva blog when it comes to the pricing structure and whether it will be included with the licensing.
Thank you.
Of course, Chris. Any other questions that we can answer for anyone on the call, either around Viva or even around, Power Platform? Okay, so I'm wondering, just maybe even by a show of hands, did the individuals on the call, the audience on the call, did you find the Viva and the Power Platform tour, was it useful to you? Did it kind of resonate with you? Oh, great. I see some thumbs up. Great. Okay. Yeah. So I see a few people, found it useful. So that's always great. And again, we're happy to have a call with you and dig in even further. If you have more specific questions, you can contact us on the site as well. Anyone else have any questions we can answer at all about Power Platform, even governance around Power Platform, Viva, any one of the Viva modules? Maybe I'll go back up and show them while we're still on the call. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, so these are, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just had a quick comment. If you can go to the slide with app templates. Yeah, so just a quick comment from what I've seen with my customers. These are just really easy ways to bring more value out of teams, right? And sometimes my customers ask me whether, hey, how much is the cost of this? Is this a separate license? Is this an application that I have to buy? But this is really an easy way to get into the platform, get value out of teams. And most of these are open source, right? I know that you guys have worked with some of our customers just tailoring the experience of these applications to their particular scenarios. right? But just, I would say, an easy way that I've seen my customers gone through realizing value out of teams at not a lot of like a high cost, right? And there is a lot of opportunities if you reach out to Jesse or just your Microsoft representative. There's a lot of resources that we can bring in if you are interested in deploying one of these apps. I think you're on mute, Jesse.
Dang it, again, Jose, you bring up such a good point. So yes, there are, some different opportunities within Microsoft, and we're more than happy to discuss, those opportunities. I also just wanted to point out that, a solution similar to, the Go Ahead solution or any of these templates that you're seeing, even if we do customization, so really helping, integrate your branding, we can do, different graphical design as well. We can customize the functionality for you. So implementing those customizations and implementing these app templates, a lot of times individuals think, oh, it's going to take a year to do this. And honestly, it's not. We can do this so quickly. We just come in, we get your requirements, we get, your notification journey, and we walk you through all of that, including, if you have governance concerns, we can also, walk you through governance as well. But it really only takes sometimes, we can get this done within a month or two, so it's a very fast process. So again, it's not going to require a lot of labor and a ton of different stakeholders. You can achieve some very quick, big wins just by, implementing one of these apps. And then once you see the art of the possible with how much time and resource time can be saved with some of these, I think it'll even start you even further down the path of, okay, let's see what other business processes, can we potentially automate with Power Platform and move that into Teams. And just again, it's all a step towards Microsoft Viva Connections and towards that employee experience.
Hey, Jesse, funny that you say that. That was exactly the same experience I had with one of my customers. Actually, It started not very well. My customer said, you know what, I don't have time for this. This looks like a very cumbersome project. Maybe let's talk about this next year. We talked to him and we showed him how easy was it to deploy. Mm-hmm. And we did it very fast. And now he's using a bot to support some of the users from IT. Mm-hmm. And they have saved like 6 hours weekly. That was a long time ago when I spoke to him, but they saw the value really fast. And it's not like at all, not a huge project, right? There is definitely, I would say, a much long-term kind of plan if you want to, let's say, enable your users to come up with applications. And here we can talk about like Center of Excellence for Citizen Development and stuff like that with Power Apps. But at least this first stage is just so easy to get into, very fast to deploy. And we can also help with that more long-term kind of vision to get more users into, like, enabling users to create their own applications.
Yeah, you betcha, Jose. Absolutely. And I see another hand up. Feel free to come off mute and ask a question or comment.
Hey, Jesse, quick question. So great presentation, really well done. And this helps clarify a lot of questions that we had. But if a customer wants to onboard this journey from concept to completion, how long do you anticipate it would take for them to see that positive, vibrant end user experience that we're talking about here? And what components would be essential for them to be able to, the analytics to analyze what's needed to give that solid feedback?
Yeah, so I think if we're talking about kind of the overarching journey to Viva Connections, which is again where you have the employee experience all in one platform, which is housed in Teams. I think that journey from beginning to end, it's going to really depend on a couple of different things. Number one, we need to probably go through, and partners like us can help with this, or they can do it internally, but really understand what their use cases and personas are. So that's really just taking a look at the different audience groups, their business processes, their pain points, their asks, what do they need, what news do they need, and being able to have that defined out so that when Viva Connections is launched, we can start to curate and map out those, those experiences per the different audience groups. So that's one piece, which is kind of the people adoption, discovery, planning part of it. The other things that we're helping customers do even today is you're going to be able to maximize more on the full employee experience if you have modern SharePoint enabled as your intranet. So we're helping a lot of organizations move from, their current existing intranet, whether that's on premise or another, third-party, intranet site. We're helping them move to modern SharePoint, and modern SharePoint or SharePoint in general. I think, it's overcoming its reputation from 10 years ago, right, where it was, maybe a little bit more challenging to use from a user perspective, but now it can be very engaging. It can be very dynamic. So again, helping organizations move to modern SharePoint with Yammer, same thing, rolling out Yammer, making sure that the adoption there is another piece. And then the other piece of that is, again, taking that discovery and really understanding, okay, what are the processes that we can automate with Power Platform to move the processes in here? And so you'll see over here on these adaptive cards, oops, on the right over here on the right side, those are where you can actually, and even on the rail too, we can customize any of the icons on the rail as well. That's where you can move those business processes. So you can have in your discovery and your personas and your use cases, you can figure out which business processes per work stream need to be automated. And then that's where the Power Platform comes in to automate it. But then again, all of that automation goes to move it into the ultimate employee experience hub. So it really depends where an organization is on their roadmap. If an organization is already on modern SharePoint, has already rolled out Yammer, in those cases, that's going to be really a quick win, because you're going to be able to right away kind of hit the ground running with Viva Connections and the ultimate kind of employee experience. And then that then becomes a matter of, well, let's look in HR, let's look in operations, let's look in finance and see what other processes could be automated with Power Platform. And again, just moved into the employee experience platform. So, I've heard one person make a comment that, it's not going to be, outside of Microsoft and partners like us, the employees themselves won't be calling this, Viva Connections. They'll be calling it whatever the organization decides that it's going to be called. Because again, it's about bringing everything together in one employee experience. So let's say that your intranet is called, Wingspan Connections. If that's what you want your employee experience hub to be, then that's what it's going to be called. And Viva is really just our back end term. It's honestly just about helping the organizations connect the dots to get them to this place where they have this platform that has everything brought into it, everything integrated into it, even third-party systems and apps. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. And sorry if I missed this earlier, if I had to step away, but did you guys also quickly cover in terms of when you said discovery, planning, rollout, if ESIF is going to be, ESIF dollars are going to be eligible for using a partner?
So I didn't cover ESIF. We just want to be a little careful about ESIF, and that is absolutely something that you can contact us about, or, for the organizations on the call, you can contact your Microsoft account person, or you can contact us because we are very familiar with ESIF. So yes, there's a lot of opportunity around ESIF. Especially within the Power Platform space right now, because that again it's enabling you to get to the Viva Connection space. So there's definitely opportunity to employ, to be able to leverage some ESIF depending on, if you're, customer, you're an organization that has, Microsoft account licenses. And again, you can go to your Microsoft account person, or you can come directly to us and we'll talk you through the options as well. Usually we work very closely hand in hand with whoever an organization CSM them is. So we're more than happy to work directly with Microsoft account teams or directly with the customer and then pull in the Microsoft account teams to discuss funding options. It's not a one size fits all for that, but certainly, funding is something that we can talk about, what's available. And I'm going to be very interested to see going into Microsoft's next fiscal year, what new opportunities are going to exist around Viva.
Absolutely. Perfect. I'll sync up with you offline. Thanks, Jessie.
Great. Love to hear from you. Okay. I know we're running close to time. Any final questions that anyone has that we can answer?
Jessie, I would say, and just building on what you just talked about, resources from Microsoft, for all the customers in the call, I would say the faster they engage with us, the more likely it is that we can secure some resources from Microsoft to help with any of these deployments, right? So
Yeah.
just wanted to bring in that comment.
Absolutely, that is true. So the faster that we get on the call and kind of discuss whatever your requirement might be, and even if you don't know what your requirement is and you just want to have a general conversation about a pain point you're trying to solve, the faster the better in this case, to be able to leverage this fiscal year, this Microsoft fiscal year's funding options. So absolutely, if this has been on your mind and you do want to kind of move forward with it, feel free to give us a call sooner rather than later to start the discussion and get on the path. So thanks, Jose, for bringing that up. Okay, if no one else has any questions, thank you so much for being part of the webinar. I really hope that the content and the tour was very helpful for all of you, and that this is great information to take back to your organizations in order to really be able to leverage Viva Connections. It's going to be a very exciting evolution in your digital workplace. So thank you again. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessie.
Thanks everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.